All right, y'all. So 5-4. So 5-3 was solving exponential functions. This one is going to be solving logarithmic functions. So this looks very similar. So first step is going to be the same thing that we do with exponential, which is isolate the logarithm. So we need the log or the ln, depending on what you have. We need that isolated. And then what we're going to do is combine any log terms with the log rules. So we have all of our log rules, adding, subtracting, and power. So we want to combine any, this should be any, not and, any log terms. The next step is we're going to change to exponentials. And then the last step here is going to be to solve. All right, so here we go. We look at this first one, and I want to isolate the log. So I'm going to move this 10 to the other side. So I would have negative ln x plus 1 equals negative 7. All right, so I have a negative over here, so I'm going to divide this whole thing by negative 1, and I have ln of x plus 1 equals 7. Okay, so now what happens is if I want to convert this, my base here is E. So if my base here is E, I'm going to make this an E, and I'm going to make this an E. So what I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, now we know that when I take the opposite of ln and E, that this cancels each other out. So it's almost saying we take this e to the ln power, but really this is not a power anymore. This comes down and we have x plus 1 equals e to the 7. So this side cancels out, but on this side we actually make it an exponential, so we have this 7 that's up here. Okay, so last step is to solve this, so we have x equals e to the 7 minus 1, and that's going to be my final answer. All right. So with this next one, I see that I have multiple logs. So I'm going to use my log rules to combine. Because I'm adding, this means I'm going to multiply. So I have log base 2. I'm going to multiply these together. So it's going to be x times x minus 7 equals 3. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this, and I'm going to convert this just by popcorning it. And so I have 2 cubed equals this. And this I'm going to actually distribute on the inside here and say x squared minus 7x. Well, hopefully what you see is that you have this quadratic. So if I move all of this around, I end up with x squared minus 7x minus 8 equals 0. Now, here's where this comes from. This value right here is an 8. So if I move this to the other side of the equation, here's what I have. All right, so if I factor this now, I would have x minus 8 and x plus 1. This gives me a negative 7, and this equals 0. So now when I solve this, I get x equals 8 and x equals negative 1. Now, this is super important. We can, and I'm going to put this up here, here's a rule that we have to have. You cannot have a negative log or a negative ln. Okay? This is super important. I'm going to actually highlight this. This is so important. It's just like saying I can't have a negative, I can't have something like this. So I have absolute value that's a negative number. We know that this can't happen. This is extraneous. Or I can't have a value in here that gives me a negative number. This is extraneous. It's the same thing here. I can't have a negative ln. So here's what happens if I look at this. If I take ln of negative 5, I get an error, non-real answer, right? So it's just like one of these. It doesn't work. So if I look at this, I have x equals 8 and x equals negative 1. Well, because this part of my original equation is just an x, this is extraneous. So my only answer here is going to be x equals 8. Let's look at another one. So I see here I have lots of ln's. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ln rule, and I know I have an x here multiplied by 24x plus 11. Now, what I also know is if I move this ln 18 over here, it becomes negative. And when I have a negative, that means I'm dividing by 18. And all of this equals 0. So if I simplify this up a little bit, I have ln of 24x squared plus 11x over 18 equals 0. Now, here I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn it into an exponent. So if I e both sides of this, or if I say this is base e, so e to the 0 equals this, what I end up with is 24x squared plus 11x all over 18 equals 1. So I can get this 18 out of the denominator, and I have 24x squared plus 11x minus 18 equals 0. Okay, so at this point, what you see here is we have a quadratic. So we want to see what we can do to factor this guy. So my 2 here are going to be 4 and 6. My 2 closest here are going to be 3 and 8. And that's going to give me 32 and 18. So that's going to be too much. And then this is 48, 12. So that's going to be too much. So let me try this one. 2 and 9. That's not going to work because of this, so let me go over here and do 3 and 8. So that's 27 and 16. So 27 minus 16 is going to be 11. So that's what I'm going to have. So I'll have 3x and 8x. I want 27 and 16. And I'm going to have a positive 11, so this is positive and this is negative. All right, so this gives me x equals 2/3 and x equals negative 9 over 8. Now, if I go up here and look at my original, I have an ln of x, so because of that, this guy can't work, so my only answer is going to be 2/3. All right, there's a lot going on in this problem. All right, last one. So I'm going to move this ln over because I want to combine all my ln's. So when I do that, I end up with x plus 2. When I move this over, it's subtraction, so I have 2x plus 5. When I subtract, it goes in the denominator, and this is going to equal 3. All right, so here's what I have. I have, I'm going to e both sides of this. So I'm going to e this one, and this gives me x plus 2 over 2x plus 5 equals e cubed. Okay, now here's my problem. I have x's on this side. This one was nice and easy because we got a value of 1, but over here I have this e to the 3. So I'm going to get this denominator out of here, and I'm going to have x plus 2 equals e cubed times 2x plus 5. Now, we worked one of these before, a couple days ago, where we had x's on both sides of the equation. So I'm going to distribute over here, and I have x plus 2 equals 2x e cubed plus 5e cubed. So when I distribute this, I have 2x e cubed plus 5e cubed. All right, I'm going to get all my x's on one side of the equation. So x minus 2x e cubed equals 5e cubed, and I'm going to move this 2 on the other side. So all I did was manipulate this. I moved this over here, it became negative. I moved this over here, it becomes negative. Okay, I'm going to pull out my factor of x, and this gives me 1 minus 2e cubed. And now I'm solving for x, so I'm just going to divide. So x equals all right, that was a super short lesson. You're going to have a lot of practice on this, and then we're going to do a lot of this in class too.